Mr Speaker, the Regulatory Standards Bill gives effect to National's coalition agreement with ACT. And as chair of the relatively collegial Finance and Expenditure Committee, we also undertook extensive consultation on these matters. We heard, Mr Speaker, approximately 30 hours of oral evidence and received over 159,000 written submissions. And of course, this follows last year's departmental consultation, which attracted 23,000 submissions. FEC, the Finance and Expenditure Committee, Mr Speaker, canvassed a range of views and took a relatively liberal and cross-party approach as to who we would hear from and its acceptance of submissions. Following many submitters' feedback, Mr Speaker, key amendments to this bill have seen a best practice tightening of the board and chair's independence and separation from the minister and government of the day, consistent with the provisions within the Crown Entities Act. I want to congratulate the ACT Party on what has been over 20 years of advocacy and hard work. Thank you.
Okay, and I believe that Laura should apply to be on that board as a former ACT card-carrying supporter.
Who? Me?
Yeah.
No. No. I don't want anything to do with this bill.
Why? You can be the Trojan horse within.
Why the fuck would I do that?
Because then you'll end up making the checklist and go, you forgot to put the training principles in there.
Listen, back when I was an ACT supporter, I did bring up issues with TTDT, such as lack of reference to it and all that stuff in legislation. They just laughed me out of the room. They don't care. They either ignore you or they just fucking tell you you're just an idiot. To put it quite bluntly, having spoken with other members, it's just, I haven't had a very nice reception with other people within the party, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very, very tired today, and I'm not really paying much attention to the speeches.
Now, you found it was a checklist, or did you post it in the chat?
Yeah, I posted that in the chat. So for every major law, the government must fill out a public report card guiding itself against the checklist. If the law breaks any checklist rules, the minister has to explain to the public why they're doing it anyways. So it's kind of right before. Okay, so that was one of those weak arguments that I was talking about. The lack of substance, extremely brief. You notice that a lot of these people that are in support of the bill, with the exception of David Seymour, are giving very brief
put it this way. Put it this way. Cameron Brewer talked about the number of submissions and how long they spent in the select committee. Nothing about the bill itself, just what happened when I was the chair of the select committee.
Yeah, and you're going to find that with a lot of the backbencher speeches in particular. They're going to start presenting things like slogans, cut red tape, hold power to account, but they're going to do that without explaining how the bill's going to achieve this or what the costs and trade-offs would be. Duncan Webb was really the only guy that said this could cost up to $60 million of taxpayers' dollars. But yeah, I mean, Cameron, did he acknowledge the 98.7% of submitters?
Probably not.
Yeah, because that's the other thing that I found too, going over the Hansard, is that a lot of the arguments in favour are ignoring the criticisms and arguments put forward by the 98.7% submitters that posed the bill, and the critical feedback from expert bodies like the New Zealand Law Society and the Ministry for the Environment, that they're not really addressing the criticisms of going, well, actually, the bill is not going to do that. They're just basically stand up and say, this is a cool bill, and then sit back down again, which I don't blame them, but, go get your bag. But
I mean, why don't they just give the speeches to ACT? I mean, yeah. I don't know if they can actually do that in Parliament, whether the National Party could give their speeches to the minor parties of their coalition. And actually, if there is a standing order that allows that, can they do that at times? Because I can tell you right now, if ACT actually had a second speech in there, it probably would be a bit better than some of the national speeches.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing I did note about Cameron Brewer's speech, because I did write down a note for that. Cameron Brewer's argument. This is the problem with what he just stood up and did, apart from how short a speech was. But his argument rested entirely on the fact that the bill was part of the coalition agreement. He didn't talk about the merits of the bill. Which is what you should be doing if you're arguing in favour of something. You should talk about how cool it is and what cool things it's going to do and how cool it is for the public and why it's actually worth investing your tax dollars into it. He didn't do any of that. He just stood up and said, cool bill, and sat back down again.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And this is what I did. And it's like, okay, cool. Thanks for the show and tell. I need something more meaty to... How's it going to benefit me? I'm sitting right here, potential voter. Actually not, because my vote's elsewhere. But anyways, imagine me. I'm a farmer on a farm, right? I've got a farm background behind me. How's this bill going to be cool for me? And he didn't put that argument forward. Like how's it going to benefit me? No. How's it going to benefit you, Sam? What benefits do you get from this bill?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, we're in the same boat.
Yeah, I don't see how it helps my business.
Yeah.
Unless what's meant to help my business is, say, suppression of minimum wage increases.
I don't think he even addressed how it's going to help big businesses.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And what happens if you have a situation, say, it affects, say, a benefit that benefits Fonterra affects Silver Fern Farms.
Yeah.
With beef or cattle. Because, we get milk from cows. We also get our beef from cows.
Different breeds of cow, though. This is one thing I can talk about. Yeah, you got Jersey breeds and stuff like that. They're not usually used for beef production.
Okay.
That's your Angus breeds and stuff like that. They're used for beef production. So I don't see them fighting with each other. But there are other things you could do too, like public health interests in tobacco advertising, or you could have potentially what's one that I could come up with, like during COVID, right? And then you had
mask mandates.
Yeah, although you had COVID, and you could have potentially ivermectin, and the government could say, no, don't take ivermectin. It's actually not going to help you. And then you could have the company go, well, excuse me, you're impacting our sales.
Yeah, exactly. It's not in our rankings of best to worst, but shall we hear what Casey Costello's got to say?
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.